Welcome! Today, we're going to master the art of the perfect petit four. I'm sharing a recipe so reliable, so delicious, it's honestly the only one you'll ever need.
Okay, let's just dive right in. Look, I get it. Making petit four at home can feel a little intimidating, right? You're worried about wasting all those expensive ingredients, or you put in all that work just to have cookies that go soft the very next day. I have been there.
But this method? Oh, this is a game changer. I've perfected this recipe to solve all those problems. It guarantees you get that perfect, crisp, melt-in-your-mouth cookie that tastes like it came from a high-end bakery. Every single time.
All right, first things first, let's talk ingredients. Because like any masterpiece, it all starts with the right foundation, measured out perfectly.
Now let's look closer at our lineup here, because the temperature is everything, and I mean everything. Your butter and your ghee have to be cold. I'm talking straight out of the fridge. This is non-negotiable. It's what creates that delicate, crisp texture. But then your eggs need to be at room temperature. That contrast is the key. It ensures they blend into the dough smoothly without melting that cold butter. It's a little bit of food science that makes all the difference.
And here's something that might surprise you. Notice what's missing? We're using absolutely no baking powder in this recipe. Not a speck. We create all the lightness, that beautiful delicate crumb, just by whipping air into the butter and sugar. It's pure technique, and it gives a much finer texture than any chemical leavener ever could.
All right, now for the part where the real magic happens. This is where we build that incredible texture. The dough comes together so beautifully, you just have to trust the process. Let's walk through it.
So, follow these steps exactly. First, whisk up your room temp eggs with vanilla. Then, in a big bowl, beat that cold butter and ghee for a couple of minutes. Now, listen up, because this part is so important. That 8-minute beating time with the sugar, that's not a suggestion. It's the whole secret. You're building an airy foundation for your cookies. Set a timer. I'm serious, it's so worth it.
And here it is, the #1 mistake I see people make. When you add that flour, you mix only until you can't see it anymore. The second it's gone, you stop. If you keep mixing, you develop gluten, and you'll get tough, chewy cookies instead of the impossibly tender ones we're aiming for. So be gentle.
And you know what's great? From this one perfect dough, making a chocolate version is so easy. You just take a chunk of it and gently mix in some cocoa powder, a little bit of soft butter, and some oil. That extra fat is crucial. It keeps the cocoa powder from drying out the dough, so your chocolate cookies stay just as rich and tender as the vanilla one.
Okay, dough is ready. Let's get to the really creative bit, shaping and baking these little beauties. This is where you can let your personality shine. Okay, a couple of pro tips for you, straight from my own experience. If you can, work in a cool room. It just helps keep that butter in the dough from getting soft, which makes piping a million times easier. I always like to pipe out all my cookies onto the trays at once before I even think about baking. That way, they go into the oven in consistent batches. 180 Celsius, that's 350 Fahrenheit. This is your magic number. And make sure your oven is completely preheated. No cheating. That initial, consistent heat is what helps the cookies set up fast, so they bake up nice and crisp instead of spreading out into sad little puddles.
So you're probably wondering, okay, but how in the world do I know when the chocolate cookies are done? It's a great question, right? You can't see them turn golden brown. But don't worry, I've got a simple, foolproof trick for you.
And here is the secret. Always pop a few of the vanilla cookies on the same baking tray as the chocolate ones. They become your little spies, your color guides. When you see that those vanilla cookies are perfectly golden brown, you know for a fact the chocolate ones are done too. It completely takes the guesswork out of it.
And listen to me on this one. Do not be afraid of getting some color on these cookies. A pale cookie is an underbaked cookie, and I promise you it will be soft by tomorrow. You're looking for a beautiful, even golden brown. That color's your insurance policy for crispness. It means the sugars have caramelized properly, and that cookie is going to stay snappy for days.
Okay, our cookies are baked to perfection. Now, let's make them showstoppers. Let's talk about the finishing touches that take them from delicious to absolutely irresistible.
And this is where you can just go wild. You can use melted chocolate, chopped nuts, sprinkles, anything you want. But if you want my absolute favorite can't-be-beat combination, it's rich, dark chocolate and a dip in those vibrant green, finely chopped pistachios. It's just so elegant and tastes incredible.
Now, here's a big chef's tip for you. A lot of people use jam to sandwich these together. And while that's traditional, jam has moisture, and moisture is the enemy of a crisp cookie.
Using melted chocolate instead not only tastes amazing, but it acts like a seal, a little moisture barrier that helps keep that perfect snappy texture we worked so hard for.
And the process itself is it's so satisfying, almost therapeutic. You just sandwich 2 cookies with a little chocolate, dip one end, let the extra drip off, sprinkle on your topping, and then let them set on some parchment paper. It's rhythmic and relaxing, and the results look so incredibly professional.
And just like that, you've done it. You have a batch of gorgeous, professional-looking Petit four. Now, let's just quickly talk about how to make sure every last one is enjoyed at its absolute best.
If you remember one thing about storing these, let it be this. Store them undecorated. The plain baked cookies themselves will stay perfectly crisp and fresh in an airtight container for a surprisingly long time, just waiting for you to decorate them.
And this right here, this is your secret weapon for stress-free entertaining. You can bake the cookies up to 2 weeks ahead of time. Yeah, you heard me right, 2 weeks. Then, a day or two before your party or event, you do the fun decorating part. It takes all the pressure off.
You are not going to believe the yield from this recipe. I mean, think about it. From 1 kilo of flour, you get this massive, beautiful batch of cookies. It's perfect for the holidays, for giving as gifts, or just for having the best-stocked cookie jar on the block. It's so rewarding. So, I've given you the roadmap, the perfect canvas. Think of this recipe as your foundation. Now it's your turn. My question for you is, what are you going to create? Will you add some citrus zest to the dough? A little cardamom, maybe? Dip them in salted caramel? The possibilities are endless, and I honestly can't wait to hear what you all come up with. Happy baking!